All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the first edition of the Indiana Office of Tourism Development's educational webinar series. Today we'll talk about our digital assets and how you can get the most out of them. Thank you for joining us. As we go, please submit questions in the chat, and I will answer at the end as best as I can. Before we get started, I'll introduce myself, as I know there are a lot of folks around the state who I've yet to have the pleasure to meet. My name is Kyle Johnson, and I'm the Digital Communications Specialist for IOTD. And in that role, I'm responsible for Visit Indiana's digital properties, be it web, social, or email. A little background on myself: I grew up in Muncie, Indiana. I'm the father of a boy and two girls, the oldest of which is 5 1/2, and if he were here, he'd be happy to know that I included the half. I attended Indiana University in Bloomington and graduated with a degree in sport communication with an emphasis on broadcasting. And I also got a certificate in telecommunications as well as the general honors notation. After graduating, I worked for 4 years at Indiana University Athletics, doing media relations for several teams. In that role, I was responsible for web and social media for the programs I worked with. In 2013, I made the move back to Muncie and went to work as the Assistant Director of New Media for Alumni Programs at Ball State University. In that role, I was in charge of all email communications to Ball State alumni, and I oversaw web and social communications as well. I held that position for 1.5 years before taking an opportunity that I couldn't pass up, which was to join IOTD, and I'll have 2 years working for the state this May. As I said, this is the first in our educational webinar series. We'll present them quarterly. We hope that you will join us in June. I'll be presenting that webinar as well. We will go into social media tactics and strategies. I'll talk about what we have had success doing on our different platforms and the strategies we've used to promote tourism in Indiana. That webinar will be on June 27th. We will have a webinar in September on road signage programs that will be hosted by Joe Bruno from NDOT. We've been told the signage program is one of the great mysteries of the Indiana tourism industry, and we hope that that webinar will change that. We also have a webinar in December and confirmed today that it will be about destination security, and a representative from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security will be on that webinar to talk to people at destinations how they can help prepare themselves for the unexpected in the world we're living in today. Now to the business at hand. Before we get started, this is kind of a what is coming, a table of contents for this webinar. First, we'll talk about visitindiana.com and all the paid and free options that are available to you on the site. We'll talk about our blog, how you can get on our blog, and how our blog works. We'll talk about our 2 monthly consumer emails, and finally, we will briefly discuss the best ways to interact with us on social media. So visitindiana.com is our consumer-facing website. In 2016, we had record traffic on our site with 1.3 million users and 1.7 million sessions. Our goal is to funnel that traffic to 6 different types of content on our website, all of which pertains to you, our partners. Those listings include premium online listings. Those include things to do, lodging, and food and drink listings. As you can see, they are highlighted to the right on the graphic. Another type of listing is our free event listings, our free discount listings, our trip ideas. We also have contests. These are paid contests on our website. We do those through different partnerships. If you're interested in that, ask our RAE, or your regional account executive for more information. We won't talk about contests beyond this right now in this webinar. And then we'll also talk about the Indiana Insider blog. So the premium online listing is home base for your attractions, hotels, restaurants, or whatever it is you're promoting on visitindiana.com. These are paid listings, most of which you get free as an add-on to your listing in our travel guide. These were revamped for this year and have much more functionality and value for you than they did in the past. These listings allow you to add up to 20 photos, and we've dramatically increased the size of the photo. You used to get one small photo, now you can get up to 20 large photos, and that makes these pages much more dynamic. This is something that's great, but for a lot of listings on the site that have been renewed, this requires some of your attention. Many listings on the site that were renewed from years past now have a tiny photo in the middle of a big black box. So please take a look at your listings to make sure the photos look good. I encourage you to go in and add more than one photo to your listings. It just shows off all that our attractions in the state have to offer. Also added for this year are more accessible click-through links for your website and for ticket sales, if that's applicable. As you can see in the graphic, the Children's Museum has a link up at the top to visit their website, and they have a buy tickets link that goes directly to ticket sales on their website. So if you get somebody ready to convert on this page, let's send them straight to the point of purchase and not make them search through your website. If you add free event listings or free discount listings through our website, which we will talk later in the webinar about those types of listings, you can now link those to your premium listing. They show up on the page as highlighted here. This creates a better user experience and that provides the visitor with more reasons to engage with the site and hopefully helps them plan to make a trip. The same goes for trip ideas. If your listing is linked to one or more trip ideas, those will show up on the page. As you can see there, the Children's Museum is linked in the Families Things to Do Around Indiana trip idea. Not pictured in this ad, but you also have the ability to add a YouTube video to a premium listing. Each premium listing can have up to one. It will show up with the photos as part of the gallery, and videos make these pages much more dynamic and allows users to learn more about your attractions. Also new this year, the description text is much more customizable. We have a WYSIWYG editor that allows you to bold, italicize, make paragraph spacing, and add links inside the text. So not only can you add links on those over on the right-hand column, but you can actually add links in your text in the description. We wanted to make these pages much more versatile for our partners, and I feel like we've done that with these redesigns. So hopefully you guys will get in and take advantage of some of those things. If you scroll down on the premium online listing, you'll find an integrated Google Map interface. The location is based on the address that you enter, so please make sure you provide a street address when possible, as this helps this function at its best. If you put the corner of these two streets, it typically doesn't show up as well as if you were able to put a physical address in, so keep that in mind. That location also determines what listings are listed at the bottom as nearby food and drink or nearby lodging. So again, this is populated by the database of our website. Those addresses go into Google Maps, and Google Maps actually is responsible for populating what goes there. So it's very important that your address is precise. So those, as you can see highlighted there, we have nearby food and drink, nearby lodging, and this is just another effort to help people plan a trip to your destination. We do have a featured listing option, so you can pay to get your listing featured on the search pages. You appear at the top, and no matter what they search for, in most instances, your attraction is going to show up there. So if you're interested in that, reach out to your regional account executive, if this is something you're interested in. Your RAE will also be a big help if you have questions on updating these pages. Next up is the section of the site that gets a ton of traffic. This is the third most visited section of our website. Since January, more than 22,000 people have visited the event listing search page to look for things to do in our state. This area of the site is behind only the home page and the contest page as far as traffic. The contests page is a little bit of an outlier. We have a lot of people, there are a lot of people on the internet who just go around and fill out forms to enter contests, so we get a lot of traffic directly to our contest page from contest websites. This area of the site is also one of the most effective areas on our site, as people spend an average of 2 minutes and 37 seconds searching through these listings. A vast majority of the content on our festivals and events email comes from these listings. Those emails get just under 50,000 subscribers, and we just sent it last week, and the email saw more than 17,000 opens. So it's a big conversion on that email, and free listing to get right into that email. These are free. They're effective listings. They get traffic, and the only cost is your time putting them into Ad Portal. So more about our free event listings. How do you create one? You can submit them through Ad Portal, as I mentioned. This is the preferred method, as you retain the ability to edit those listings. And if you have an issue, it makes it a lot easier for me to let you know and get those corrected. Using Ad Portal, you have the ability to crop the photos and control the look of your listing. We do, however, have a button at the top of the events listing page on visitindiana.com that allows you to submit an event without logging in. This is good for folks who have one event to submit or just a couple. After they submit, this listing becomes completely under my control. So if they want to edit it, they have to figure out how to contact me. Typically, they'll go through our contact us page if they have an issue. So there's nothing wrong with submitting them through that link, but if you are submitting numerous events, I really encourage you to do it through Ad Portal. So what types of events qualify for free event listings? School events in most instances do not qualify. I say in most instances because there are always exceptions, but if it's a school play, we don't really think that's a draw. Fundraisers in most instances do not qualify. Rummage sales, I won't even say in most instances, I said they do not qualify. That's just something we don't think is a good fit for our website, even if it's a county-wide rummage sale. A store having a sale does not qualify. We get these every once in a while. An argument could be made. Shopping is definitely tourism-related, but we just don't want to clutter up these listings with a lot of clearance sales at stores around the state. So another thing, your event must be temporary. Permanent exhibits or shows do not qualify. Our theory is that if it's permanent, it is your business, and so it should not be a free event listing. If you want it on our website, it could be a premium online listing. And the ultimate question as to whether your event will get approved is, does this have a tourism draw? That's pretty broad, so don't be frightened off by that. Doesn't mean the event needs to draw 20,000 people. Temporary museum exhibits, special events at an apple orchard, they're not huge events, but they're great things for people to add onto a trip when they come to town. So I'm the person who looks at every single one of these free event listings. These are helpful hints, but I'll admit these tips I'm going to give you are mainly just kind of me selfishly what I would like you to do when you submit these listings. The types of events we'd love to see you submit: sporting events, plays, concerts, special programming at a park, art exhibits, special exhibits at a museum, nature hikes, food events, restaurant events, bird watching events, the list goes on. There's really not much limit to this other than what I talked about on the previous slide. Pictured is the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. I actually personally added this listing. I created one listing and added all of the dates for their home events this season. I did this for several baseball teams in Indiana for a blog about cool ballparks in Indiana. So I wanted to have a link that went to give more information. And so there's, on this free event listing, there's a link to their website at the top, and there's a buy tickets option at the bottom. So I included this to show you that if you have, if you're setting up this event, please enter the dates as I have here. I entered individual date spans for all of their home stands. If you have a season, if they had just said April 8th through September 1st, that's very general, and it doesn't work as well in our search listings. So if you have an event that is every Tuesday for the year, please don't post it as January 1st through December 31st. It just clutters up the beginning of those search listings and frustrates the user. So you can add as many dates as you'd like. This just makes the listing sort better if you add in your dates individually. If you're unsure whether an event qualifies, you can email me or just submit it. If it doesn't qualify, I'll decline it, and it isn't at the end of the world. There are 4 things your listing absolutely must have to get approved. You have to have a date or dates. Otherwise, it won't show up in the search. So if you submit something without a date, I'm going to send it back and say action is needed. You must have at the very least a thumbnail image. The listings in the search page are sorted by date, but the listings without a thumbnail appear at the very end of the listings. So an event that's in April won't show up until after all other listings that include a thumbnail. So that means if there are listings for October of next year, your April 2017 event would not show up until the very, very end, if that makes sense. I would also prefer that you include an image in the listing. If you look at the listing we have pictured here, that image really makes this a lot more attractive. But I will say that won't keep me from approving. The thumbnail will, though. You have to have a link. If you don't include a link back to your site or a site with more info about the event, the page is a dead end, and it just frustrates our users. Nobody wins in that scenario. We want to drive traffic to your site, so please include a link. If you don't, I won't approve the listing without a link. So, if it's about an event and the event doesn't have its own website, if it has a Facebook page, we can link to that. If it has a Facebook event that you've created, there just needs to be some type of landing page for people to go to get more information. And the last of those 4 musts, you have to have a description of the event. I will say, note that unlike the premium event listing or premium online listings, this is not a what you see is what you get editor. So it will all appear as one paragraph. Your text will appear without line breaks. So please, a lot of people submit these, and they will just copy and paste in a agenda of the event. And it appears as a long list, and it will show up like that in your box, but when it comes up on the page, it's just going to be a jumbled mess. So give a short description and encourage them to visit your site for more information. Again, we want to send them to the site to learn more. So if you want traffic on your site, please just put a short description and let's move them to your website. Let's give them a tease and sell them the sizzle. I know that was a lot on free event listings, but they're a big traffic driver on our website, and they're free. So next up, we have another free listing, the free discount listing. These are included in our monthly Things to Do and Discounts email, which I think you probably picked up from the title, Free Things to Do and Discounts email. This is by far the most underutilized listing type on our website. We currently have 37 on the website. That means each month those listings have a great shot at getting into that email. We typically have 2 discounts. Sometimes I'll do up to 4. 2 out of 37 is pretty good odds. And if somebody goes to the discounts tab on our website, each one of those discounts, when there's only 37, have a pretty good shot at getting clicked on. So I hope you're catching my drift here that this is an opportunity that you could go in, add some discounts, and hopefully get some traffic to your site. These discounts don't have to be huge. As you can see, the listing displayed is $1 off admission to the Benjamin Harrison presidential site. So that's not a huge discount, and it's probably not going to make a huge dent in the budget for the Benjamin Harrison presidential site. But if it brings in some visitors and gets you into our email, it could be a big boon. You can submit these through Ad Portal. There is not an option to submit them on the site like the free event listings, but like I said, we don't get as many of these, so that's, there wasn't as big a demand. I will say that these are very easy to submit. I don't think there's not an image required, so you really, I really can't encourage you enough to start to submit some of these. They are free. Next up is the Indiana Insider blog, or as I call it, the blog. What I love about the blog is it's a great way to direct people to our other listings. So we ask our bloggers to include lots of links and require that they include so many of those links to go back to visitindiana.com pages. So this is the primary source of content for our social channels. We do share content that is not specifically to our site, but probably 75% of what we share is from our blog or trip ideas or other things. But our blog is a huge creator, a huge generator of traffic for our site, and that a lot of it comes back to our social media. So we do, for every blog post, for the most part, for every blog post, we do a promoted Facebook post and lots of tweets. So when we publish a blog post, I will schedule 20 or so tweets over the course of a long span of time to share out. Our blog posts also get preferential treatment in our emails. So if we have a blog that came out in the past month, you can bet it will likely end up in the Things to Do and Discounts email. And if applicable, it will end up in our festivals and events email. We have 4 paid bloggers. They primarily cover different regions of the state, but they also travel to other parts of the state. We do not limit them to one area, but their geographic location did go into how we hired them. Ann Mulligan worked for many years for Visit Madison, and she retired in January. She writes for us covering the southeast region of the state primarily. Tina Bobilia, who is on the call, is the executive director of the Huntington County Visitor and Convention Bureau, and she covers the northeast region of the state. Chris Fluke is a professor at Ball State. He is not directly in the tourism industry, but he led the team that did such an amazing job capturing the Bicentennial Torch Relay on video and in photos. He's a gifted photographer, and we were thrilled when he agreed to blog for us. He primarily covers the eastern part of the state, but he's traveled the whole state for a couple of projects, including he did a project capturing photos of Indiana's small towns, and he did a project capturing photos of all of Indiana's county courthouses. He also just did a post for us on New Harmony, and yesterday got a tweet to us from a couple who, from his blog post, planned a weekend getaway for their anniversary, and they wanted to thank us for giving them the idea. So that's what's the first one posted, featured at the top of the blog there. So, that's pretty anecdotal, but it's good to see positive results like that. Donovan Wheeler is our 4th blogger. He is an AP English teacher, and he's written for Indiana on Tap. So he's got quite a good background in microbreweries and things like that. He's based out of Greencastle and primarily covers the western part of our state. Since January 1, we've had 90,000 visitors to the blog. That's a huge traffic driver for us. And, people go from the blog. Like I said, there are links back to our site as well as to partners that are featured in the blog. So those 90,000 visitors then go on to other pages. So huge value in our blog. I know that some of you are thinking, as I read off those bloggers and their geographic areas, that we have some holes geographically in our coverage. We know that, and we're aware of that. We have reached out, and we've set up some guest blogging partnerships with CVBs around the state. and you can do the same if you're interested. We love getting content from you guys, so please, please, please reach out to us. We can also try to get a blogger sent your way, or we can work with you to get you guest blocking access if you're interested. So what types of content are we looking for? We want content that we can use for a long stretch of time. If you want to do a blog about an event, something that has an expiration date, if there's an, I think I did a blog about a temporary exhibit at the Indiana State Museum. So that has an expiration date, but it's something that's open for a couple months. It's something that we can promote via social media for a lot of lead time. So please give us lead time if you're wanting to do a blog about an event. Now we move on to trip ideas. The trip ideas section of our website is meant for blog type content that is evergreen. So we don't want this. We don't want any expiration date on these trip ideas. This content is easier for consumers to find than trying to search through the blog because it does function like our other listings where there's a search. They can search by location. They can search by the type of trip, and there's lots of different ways to sort it. These also integrate with the things to do restaurant and lodging listings if those listings are tagged in the trip ideas. This area of the website is in a lot of places outdated. We're always updating things, and it's a project that I've been going through, but in all of the other things I have to do, it's hard to keep track of keeping these completely up to date. So I will readily admit that there are a lot of things here that need updated. That is one of the things our summer intern will be dedicating. This is a large project going through every single trip idea we have to try and make sure that we don't have businesses that have closed or things like that, because some of these have been on the site for quite a while. And the reason we don't want to take them down is they help our website's reputation, and that amount of time, the traffic that is generated is great for search engine optimization. So we'll ask you, please, if you would, you can help by taking a look to see if any of these trip ideas pertain to you and help us update them. Specifically with CVBs, you're going to have more insider knowledge on if the restaurants or attractions we've included might be better if switched to something new, or if there's an address change, a website change. You get the point. Those are things that you have a lot better knowledge of than we do for your local area. We currently have 135 trip ideas, and we want more. So if you take a look and you find things need updated, that's great. If you take a look and you think, well, you should have this on there, go ahead and let me know. We would love to have you write us a trip idea or give us an itinerary to work off of. This is all free. This is not, a paid trip ideas, or these are not paid listings. This is something that you can do for free on our site. So if you have an idea for us, well, we're all ears. So please reach out to us about that. The trip ideas do have, like the premium online listings, a photo gallery, and you can add a video. So there's a lot of capability on these, and they are very dynamic content. Next up, we'll talk about our email program. Our email program is a great driver of traffic for visitindiana.com. We send 2 consumer emails each month. The festivals and events email is sent on the 3rd Wednesday of each month. It draws primarily from our free event listings, and if we have any blogs that relate to an event or museum exhibit or something like that, we would include that. The Things to Do and Discounts email is sent on the 4th Wednesday of each month, and it draws from our blogs, our event listings, trip ideas, premium listings. If there's something on visitindiana.com, it can go into this email. The discounts, as I mentioned before, are a great way to get featured in this email if you submit those discounts, because there's just not a lot of competition. We also offer paid ads and featured listings in our emails. Your regional account executive can tell you more about that if you're interested. So how do I select what goes into the emails each month? Well, first of all, I have a spreadsheet. This is some inside baseball for you. I have a spreadsheet that I print out. I did it about 3 months at a time. And as I come across free event listings that get entered or other things that are going on, I'll write those down on that spreadsheet. And when it comes time to do the email, I start from there, and then I build out. So as I build that out, I'm looking to make sure that we represent all 6 regions of the state relatively equally. So, it's not going to be equal every month, but I try and make sure there's at least 2 or 3 of the featured things in our emails from each region. And then I also try to make sure that we're including a diversity of the type of attractions and events that we're including. I want to make sure we appeal to people geographically and based on a variety of interests so that we're looking for something, or so we're giving something for everybody. The last thing I want is a subscriber opening that email, not seeing anything that interests them, and saying, why am I even dealing with this email, and hitting unsubscribe. So, that's kind of the thought process that goes into our emails. Blog articles are going to always get preference in the emails. That doesn't mean they're going to all appear at the top, but they're going to probably get included if we've done something. So just keep that in mind. If you have a big event coming up and want it in the festivals and events email, first of all, make sure you have a free event listing. Second of all, send me an email or contact your RAE, and we can typically get it into the emails. So the goal is for every email we have between 16 and 20 entries in the email, but there's not really a limit on that. I try and keep it down to that because I find that at some point people just stop scrolling. If your event isn't on our site, please don't just assume that I know about it. Make sure it's up a few months before your event, and hopefully we'll get you included. Now, obviously, with I think we had almost 600 free event listings on the site. I can't include everything, but we will, make an effort to spread the wealth and try and include from month to month different places and locations around the state. So I just ask you, don't take things personally if you don't get included, but reach out and hopefully we can get you in there. Social media is a great tool for disseminating our content and creating a sense in the public of what Honest to Goodness Indiana is all about. So what's the best way for you to get into our social feeds? On Twitter and Facebook, guest blogging or hosting a blogger, that's a great way to do it. If we got a blog article about you, I can guarantee you it's going to be shared on our social a lot. So that's the best way to get onto our social feeds when it comes to Twitter and Facebook. Another is if you're featured in an article, make sure we know about it. Mentioning us on Twitter is great. So if you want to tag us on Twitter, that's great. In the very least, we will like your post. A lot of times we'll go ahead and retweet it. On Facebook, our notifications are kind of like drinking through a fire hose. So tagging us or mentioning us on Facebook is not a guarantee that we'll see it in short order. So just be aware of that. I'll discuss our Facebook and Twitter content strategy in some depth at the Media Marketplace on April 12th. If you haven't signed up for that, great event, plug. And in our next webinar in June, I will also discuss many of the same things. So I won't go into it here. Just know that if you send us a link and we don't share it, it isn't out of spite or politics. We have some strategic method to what we do. So just know that, if you share something with us, we do appreciate it, even if we aren't sharing it. Instagram is a great way to get into our feed. Since May 2015, we've gone from less than 3,000 followers to now more than, we're getting ready to surpass 20,000. So we repost photos regularly and would love to repost your photos. This not only gets your content in front of our audience, but it also exposes your Instagram account, because we will, when we repost, we will attribute and include you in the description to let people know that they can go follow you. How do you do that? If you want to have a photo, or if you have a photo that you think we'll like, tag us in the photo. When I say tag, I mean actually tag us. Don't just mention us in the description. Like a lot like Facebook, our notifications come very quickly, and so it's easy for me to miss if you just tag us, or if you just put us in the description. If you physically tag us as you're entering your photo, tag us in the photo. I look through those daily, and I save the best photos to repost later. So that's the best way for us to help promote you. If you have a good photo, tag us in it. I won't guarantee it. I mean, we get tagged a lot, but we do share 2 or 3 photos every week. Another thing we do, please use the hashtag H2G Indiana, and I've got a video here. We'll see how the audio goes. I don't know exactly how it's going to come through for you guys, but I'm going to show you a video that we showed at the ITA conference, and it's about our hashtag and how you can use it and personalize it for your locations. So without further ado, here we go. And with that, I'll take some questions if we have any. We don't have any in the chat, so if you have any questions, feel free to submit those through the chat. And if not, I really thank you for tuning in today, and I hope you'll join us for our webinars in June, September, and December.
We got a question about, can we sort pictures?
Sort pictures, how do you mean by that? I guess my question would be, on what type of listing are you talking about? So in the premium online listings, I don't know about sorting. I think they show up in the order that you upload them. So in the premium online listing, you might need to do the sorting before you upload them, and just do it in that way. I don't know that there is a drag and drop way to do that. And knowing in trip ideas, that capability, I think we can drag and drop them. But that's something I can talk with Williams Randall, who is responsible for the background architecture of our website. I can talk to them about maybe moving that functionality over to our premium online listings, and we can see about that.
All right. Someone asked if you could share the dates for the June and September webinars again.
They will be. They are. I can. They are on our website, and they will be included in our monthly newsletter that goes out later this week. And they are on the website. The June one we've already set up, so where you can register, and we will include that link in the newsletter. But it is on the industry website. If you go to For Industry Partners, and at the top there's a link for webinars. They are all listed there with dates. I believe it is June 27th. I'd have to go back a ways. September, it'll be the last week of September, and it's December 5th, I believe, for the other.
All right. Someone asked about the link for free listings on Ad Portal.
So if you do that, if you log into Ad Portal, you can click Create New Ad, and it will give you every different type of ad that we offer. You can click Free Event Listing, and it's a pretty simple process. You just have to fill out the forms, and it'll all work itself out. Now, after you create those ads, make sure you go through the checkout process. They don't show up for my approval until you do that. So the checkout is up in the top right. So make sure you do that after you submit your free event listing.
And will there be a recording of this webinar, and where can they find it?
There will be a recording of this webinar. We will put it on that page that I just mentioned on visitindianatourism.com. Go to For Industry Partners, and then under the webinars link, we will link that there, and we will house future webinars there as well. So hopefully that can become a little bit of a resource for the industry.
Tina asked if they can submit a blog that is also on their site.
Definitely. You can definitely repurpose content from your website. It's new to us, so do not feel like you have to reinvent the wheel. If you're wanting to do submit a guest blog, if you have something that you have previously used on your site, I approve them, so I'll go through and edit a little bit, but definitely you can do that. So do not feel like you have to completely create new content. It can be repurposed.
They want to know how they sign up for the monthly newsletters.
You can do that by going to the same place I just talked about, visitindianatourism.com, or actually, you're probably talking about the consumer emails. So the consumer emails, if you go to visitindiana.com to subscribe, there's a pop-up usually, or you can scroll all the way down to the bottom. If you're talking about signing up to be in the email, you can send me an email or contact your regional account executive, and they will be of as much help as I will. So hopefully I answered that question wherever it was headed. If you're interested in the industry newsletter, if you go to the visitindianatourism.com For Industry Partners, there is a industry newsletter, industry news header there, and I think it's the first one. So, but there is a link there where you can subscribe, if that was the question.
Someone asked how they submit a trip idea.
You can do that via email. If you take a look at what they are, you can see that there's kind of an itinerary set up, and just please submit the information. You know, you'll be able to see if you look at a couple trip ideas how they work. We do ask that we need websites, and but a lot of that you can send me something and I can tell you what we need. So I do ask that if we're going to create new trip ideas, let's make sure we have at least about 5 photos. that just makes, you know, if we're going to create new content, let's go ahead and make it attractive, and let's make it up to the standard of 2017.
All right. What is the criteria for a guest blogger if we are in an uncovered area?
The criteria is, are you creating content that's relevant to tourism in Indiana? If so, we're probably going to be okay with having you write for us. So we're here to promote the whole state. So you know, just send me an email. It's there on the screen. That's my desk phone number, and I'm typically at my desk. I don't get a lot of calls, but I'm open to them.
What is the lead time to submit a blog for an event, and what is the preferred format?
You can send that as a Word document, and then I do have we do have like a guidelines form, just a handout that we have for our bloggers. And so if you're interested in guest blogging for us, typically what we'll do is we'll say, you know, if you're going to be a guest blogger for us, we'll ask you to do 2 or 4 blogs over the course of the year. But we have people that submit one-offs. So, you know, whatever you're interested in doing, we're open to. But like I said, we have paid bloggers. So, you know, if you would like to have one of them come your way, we can probably arrange that as well. And the lead time, if it's about an event, I prefer about 2 months. But if it's a recurring event, it can be more than that. But, you know, typically if you're writing about a festival, we're going to promote it on social, and we're probably not going to go out much more than 2 months. But, you know, if it's a museum exhibit, most of what I find are we get museum exhibits or art displays or something like that, and it's if the exhibit is open for a span of 4 months, I would love to have it a month before that starts, and we'll promote it for a month until it starts, and then throughout the entire duration of it. So it really depends, and you know, we've had some that have been a shorter lead time that we've allowed, but I really would prefer to have a couple months, at least 1 month, to help promote it, to really do it justice. I mean, we don't want to just post a blog to post a blog. We want to be able to use it and drive people to your event, and ultimately get them to show up.
And that's the last question I have.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and hope that you guys got something out of it, and hopefully see a lot of free event listings, free discount listings, and just, you know, more content headed our way. I really sincerely say that. It's more work for me, but it makes our website that much better and helps us promote what you do. All right. With that, I think we'll call the webinar to an end. Thank you again.